Is Warwick Davis in the first reboot?
No, it's played as like a straight horror. The monster's like Gollum, and nothing like an actual leprechaun. Okay, like a fictional leprechaun.
That's not what real leprechauns look like. I'm sorry. I know what you meant.
This podcast is not suitable for children or those who are easily disturbed. Spoiler warning for whatever is in the title of this episode.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible and all other major podcast apps.
Top of the morning to you, boyos. Welcome to a very special episode of The Horror of Babylon, where we'll be discussing Mark Jones' classic film, Leprechaun. I am Ryan, and with me, as always, is Daniel. Say hi, Daniel.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms. Are we going to be playing the Friends theme song in this?
I can do that for the audio podcast.
Yeah.
But on YouTube, I think I can get away with like 7 seconds of it.
Yeah, like a blip.
Yeah, like da-na-na-na-na-na. So we'll put it here. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Yeah.
I was just curious.
Speaking of friends,
our best friends.
Thank you to Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth, the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo.
And thank you to Four Horsemen Comics and Gaming, which you can visit at the Morgantown Mall in Morgantown, West Virginia, or at the Mall at Robinson in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com, and if you make it into the store, say hello to Ronald III, Grampus of Christmas, and please shoot a ball of gum down his mouth with the slingshot and say that's for Ryan, from Ryan and Daniel, for making us watch this movie. Real quick side tangent. I'm going to let you handle this because, as you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Friends. But if you had to cast each of our patrons as one of the friends, who would they be?
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay.
Ron is Chandler.
Okay. Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Because he kind of, I don't interact with Ron nearly as much as you do, but Chandler kind of has to be funny in a moment. Mm-hmm. And he strikes me as the dude who always has a joke ready.
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
Which means he ends up repeating a lot of the same ones, but that's okay.
I'm sorry, Ben, you're kind of a Ross.
Ugh.
I mean, that means you get to bang Rachel.
Yeah. We just started... We just finished King of the Hill and we started it over again. Mm-hmm. And I always forget about the joke in the first episode where Bobby and Joseph are playing with Friends dolls.
You want my Ross?
Yeah, he's like, can I blow up one of your Friends dolls? Okay, you can have my Ross.
Yeah. That's mostly just because Ross has a more dry sense of humor, and Ben he's very quick-witted, but he also just kind of delivers it super deadpan a lot of the time.
Okay. Does that make Logan Joey by default?
I guess so. I mean, okay, this might not be politically correct. He's polyamorous, and I kind of associate that with man-hoeing.
Yeah, Joey's like the man whore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I know that's not really considered a thing, but...
Whatever.
It's the closest I got.
Whatever.
Mia's kind of a Phoebe.
Okay.
And I guess that means Abby has to be either Monica or Rachel. I don't really see too much. she's got like the strong personality of a Monica.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go with Monica.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know enough about, like, I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but not enough to really give any kind of input. But that's cool.
I've seen entirely too much Friends.
Yeah. Speaking of doing things entirely too much, we are doing a third giveaway. We're giving away an Evil Dead MTG Secret Lair, which is a gift set of Magic the Gathering cards featuring characters and events from the original Evil Dead movie. To win that, or to be entered to win that, all you have to do is comment on any of our videos or posts on any of our social media pages in the month of March. At the end of March, we will go through and tally up all the names of all the people who have commented on our posts, put you in the giveaway, and pick one lucky winner for that. So please follow us on any of our socials, which are in the intro and outro of the show, plus the show notes, and do that. And please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you really, really like the show and you want to support the continued making of the show, you can subscribe to us at patreon.com/ahorrorofbabylon, and you can have an awful, ridiculous title like the people we were just talking about.
We also have an eBay store.
Yes, we also have an eBay store, and we still need a Rachel. Apparently, because we have... You gave one to everybody, but we need a Rachel.
Yeah, so we have to get a 6 patron.
We have to.
We need a Rachel. Who wants to be the Rachel of our Patreons?
Okay, we need to move on. Our history with Leprechaun. Go ahead.
I had seen the second one first. It was either on TV or it was one of those movies my dad irresponsibly rented for me when I was like 10 or 5 or whatever. And so I watched that. And then, you know, I went back and I watched some of the other Leprechaun movies over time. I think the first one was one of the last ones I ended up watching, actually. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it. I have a lot of these, like, false memories about Leprechaun movies. Because not only did I see the Leprechaun, but I also saw these other movies about leprechauns that scare me way more. That I'll talk about those later. Because I think there's this one scene in this one movie that's way more terrifying than anything in this.
I saw this movie during my, like, renting horror movies from our local video store phase.
Yeah.
And prior to sitting down and watching this, I couldn't have really told you if I had only seen the first one or if I had seen any of the sequels. I'm pretty sure that I have only seen the first one, and now I've only seen it twice. A bigger part of my experience with Leprechaun is a few years ago I read Warwick Davis's biography, because his autobiography he wrote himself, because it was free on Audible. And as you guys know, I'm a big Star Wars, so anybody Star Wars, and I'm like, okay, let's dive into that. And I actually reread the chapter on Leprechaun in preparation for this podcast, so I strangely know a little too much about the making of Leprechaun and can talk more about that than the actual movie itself.
I know Rachel's ashamed of it.
Yeah. He said in his book that she denies being in it, but I found an interview where she talked about it, and she wasn't like super happy to talk about it, but she was like, yeah, I was in that. Which I don't super blame her, but
I don't know. I think maybe it's just because I haven't gotten to be in anything like Leprechaun. I feel like if I got to be in like a goofy VHS horror movie that became sort of like a fun cult classic for people, that I'd be super stoked on it.
I think I would be as a new actor, but if I developed my career to be like kind of like a legitimate A-list actor, I might view that as the black sheep of my career.
Yeah.
But it just depends on, like, if you're a Bruce Campbell type, then yeah, but if you're a Jennifer Aniston type, maybe not.
The vampire's a pure myth, superstition. I may be able to bring you proof that the superstition of yesterday can become the scientific reality of today.
Background, this movie was released January 8th, 1993. It was written and directed by Mark Jones, who this was his first film. Previously, he wrote for TV some of the big titles, Scooby-Doo, The A-Team, and Alf. The story goes that he was inspired by Lucky Charms commercials. He wanted to create a leprechaun character who was an antagonist in a film. And he was influenced by the film Critters.
This movie is a lot like Critters.
He brought the concept to Trimark, and apparently Trimark, it never occurred to me to think about it, that they were doing things other than making movies. But this was actually the first theatrical movie that Trimark ever did.
Huh.
Which was interesting. Now, in Warwick Davis's autobiography, he says that Leprechaun was intended to be a horror movie for kids, and that on the set, the executives didn't think it would make money, and they made them add bad language and gore and more violence.
You know what's funny is, like, on this rewatch, I was sitting there going that this is almost a good horror movie for kids, save some of those instances.
And the Wikipedia says something a little different. The Wikipedia says that it was intended to be straight horror, and then on the set, they made it into more of a horror comedy. I would probably go with what Warwick Davis says because he was there, as opposed to the Wikipedia, but I also got that, like, I felt like a little bit of a tonal whiplash. Like, it's so goofy, it's like almost like watching a live action cartoon.
With a few rewrites, you could have had, like, something along the lines of Gremlins.
Yeah. Okay. It was filmed in only 3 weeks, and some of the scenes were filmed at Big Sky Ranch, which is where two of the most wholesome TV shows of all time were filmed, Little House on the Prairie and The Waltons.
I want that crossover.
The hill that, like, the leprechaun chases Jennifer Aniston down is the same hill in the opening song of Little House on the Prairie that the girls run down.
I want somebody to do an edit of the leprechaun running down with them.
It might exist. Just real quick.
Just real quick.
I'm just gonna YouTube Leprechaun Little House on the Prairie.
If I was better at editing videos, I would make this myself.
Yeah, I would not be good at that.
Hey, there's my YouTube channel.
Yep. You show up in my feed.
Thank you. I am absurdly proud of that thumbnail.
Yeah, it's a nice one. Okay, here's a video explaining the connection.
You called it a blasphemous connection.
Yeah, I don't think that edit exists.
Somebody should, like... I could probably do an edit where I, like, edit in scenes from the Leprechaun into Little House of the Prairie.
Yeah, that would not be hard.
That wouldn't be too hard. I could probably do that.
If somebody else beats us to that, free idea, that's cool. If you want to credit us, that'd be great. The makeup artist was Gabe Bartolos. He also did makeup for Gremlins 2, Munchie, Darkman. He did special effects for the original American Godzilla, and also for Underworld.
The one with Ferris Bueller?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And apparently the makeup for the Leprechaun character took 3 hours to put on and 40 minutes to take off. And Warwick Davis said in his book that they filmed through the night. They started at, I think it was like 4 p.m. and they went till 6 a.m. every night for 3 weeks. So
what do you think of the makeup?
I think the makeup's awesome. I think that's the high point of the movie.
I also think the makeup is good, but I'm gonna bring up a picture here because there is another movie that he is in where he plays a leprechaun.
Yeah, I came across that in my research. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Damn it!
I forget what it was called.
It's just called, like, Leprechaun. And I honestly think this looks way more terrifying than the actual Leprechaun. And that's so mean because it's really just kind of his face.
Yeah.
I think it's the cover.
The movie was a critical flop, but it was huge with kids and teenagers.
Yeah.
And I liked this movie a lot when I was a kid.
I mean, it's fucking goofy.
Yeah. In his book, Warwick Davis credits a lot of the film's success to a reference in Wayne's World 2. I don't imagine you've seen that in recent years.
Like 2-3 years ago.
Okay. Well, Wayne says they do this bit on the show where Wayne says to Garth, "I'm the Leprechaun, Garth." Yeah. That was one of the biggest comedies of the early 90s, and Warwick Davis thought that bumped them up a lot.
I miss Mike Myers.
Yeah, I do too. I guess he never has to work again. Shrek money.
Yeah, I guess.
His movie had a budget of slightly under $1 million and took in $8.6 million.
See, that's why I would like to work on a stupid movie like this.
Yeah.
Especially if it just did, even if it just did those numbers, that'd be great.
I mean, like, The Evil Dead, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
I would 100% be in Blood and Honey. I'd hate myself for it, but I would do it.
Yeah, I mean, just like the money that these cheap movies pull in. It spawned 7 sequels, and there's currently a reboot that's either in development or pre-production.
I saw the first reboot, and it is awful.
Is Warwick Davis in the first reboot?
No, it's played as like a straight horror. The monster's like Gollum, and nothing like an actual leprechaun. Well, okay, like a fiction.
That's not what real leprechauns look like. I'm sorry. I know what you meant.
I think they even call it a fairy in the movie.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's a little closer to like actual Irish mythology.
Okay, so are they fairies?
They were fairies, yeah.
Okay, well then I guess I've been mad at this movie for the wrong reasons.
This is the one that makes up bullshit lore, like they're afraid of 4-leaf clovers. That was completely made up for this movie.
And that's that. Another story in the classic, infallible 3-act structure. Good enough for Aristotle, good enough for The Simpsons.
Mr. Sislak, I have a feeling there's going to be one more act to this story.
Well, I'm not hanging around for that. 4 acts.
Let's go to structure and themes, and I want to talk about the tone. In his book, Warwick Davis calls it a Scooby-Doo-esque slasher. And remember, this was Mark Jones, who wrote the movie, did write for Scooby-Doo, and they did originally intended to be a movie for kids. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the tone?
I think that's an apt description. You know that gag, I think they make fun of it on Scooby-Doo a lot, where they're like running around and the background remains the same. Uh-huh. A lot of this movie is literally them just running away from the leprechaun.
Yeah.
Just all in the same spot. Because what are you going to... I guess you can teleport, or create roller skates.
He has, like, Slappy-esque, like, the lights flash and he's on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
Kind of... I guess maybe I should say Chucky-esque.
I mean, I like Slappy more.
Yeah, I do too.
Maybe more biased.
I am. I was surprised at the very low kill count in this movie. And among the actual the core characters, like 0 kill count.
Yeah, I think that actually might explain some of the rewrites. I think that those characters were specifically, if you know what he says is true, were specifically just written in. Okay, we need to add blood, but none of these characters die.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have the leprechaun get pulled over by a police.
So he kills the cop, the guy who owns like the coin store.
Yeah.
And then the Mr. O'Darby.
Yeah, Mr. O'Darby is about the only one that I think might have been in the original
movie, yeah.
But the other ones feel like... I mean, I don't mind the kills, but they feel kind of out of place compared to the Scooby-Doo chases.
Yeah, I feel like I might have preferred the movie if they just leaned more into it being a kid's movie.
Yeah. I do kind of like the pogo stick kill because it's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I was sitting there watching it and I was like, this should be like a 10. I should be loving this. And I like it on paper, but the rest of the movie is just so... I don't know.
I think part of it's our age, part of it's our expectations are different.
Yeah.
And part of it is we had to watch it.
Yeah. But at least it was only 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, by far, not the worst thing we've had to do.
Yeah. Fly.
So bad. I hate you, Ron.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Characters, we won't bury the lead. Warwick Davis, apparently the leprechaun's name is Lubden, but I don't remember them.
I don't think they ever used it.
Yeah.
If they did, it was like blink and you'll miss it.
Yeah. Which is very possible.
He broke his little legs carrying this fucking movie.
Yeah, he did. Warwick Davis is a very talented actor. If you're not, was Wicket in Return of the Jedi, and has had a role in basically every other Star Wars movie since. He's also Willow. He was Professor Flitwick in the Harry Potter movies. He's been in a ton of stuff. So you've seen him before. No, he was not in Time Bandits. That was the subtitle of his book. No, I was not in Time Bandits.
I was gonna ask. No. I feel bad now. I like Time Bandits.
Yeah, Time Bandits is fun.
That's another one of those like surprisingly scary movies to me.
Yeah. But no, I completely agree. He's far and away the best. I feel like he's the only one who really got to act in this movie.
This might sound mean to some of the other actors, because I'm sure a lot of them were trying, but it felt like he was the only one trying most of the time.
Yeah. Well, he was definitely having the most fun.
Yeah. And I mean, you get to play the monster in a monster movie. He has a surprising amount of range for a guy who, like, he's never been like a giant star, but he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But he has like a shit ton of range, which I always like. His Harry Potter character does not feel like the Leprechaun.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Granted, some of that has to do with makeup. You can't really see his face. But, like, the way he carries his voice and the way he's delivering lines.
Another, like, fun bit from the book, I don't remember which one it is, but one of the Leprechaun movies takes place in Las Vegas. They filmed all of that in California, except for they were able to film one day in Las Vegas because of their budget.
Yeah.
But the director didn't get them licenses, so they did guerrilla shots the whole time, and they were constantly on the lookout for the police.
That's great.
And they would just, like, they'd have him in a van, and they'd, like, roll down the street, wait for no cops to be there, and they'd shove him out of the van, and they'd be like, okay, go terrorize some people. And then they'd film it, and then they'd, like, pick him up and go to another location.
So I ended up watching this on Peacock. And I fell asleep. I had to watch this movie 3 times to finish it. And every time I woke up, it would be on a different Leprechaun movie, and one of them was the Las Vegas ones.
That's funny.
Yeah, so I have to go back to the first and find where I was.
It says I watched 4 Leprechaun movies. I did not!
I ended up, Leprechaun in the Hood was one of them. I got to hear him go, "Oh, what's up, my ninjas?" Because he refused to say the N-word, or they wouldn't let him say the N-word. It was one of those. I can't remember the story. But so in the entire movie, no one says the N-word, not even the black guys. Everyone is saying ninjas.
I think that's better.
Yeah, it's goofy. It's good for a Leprechaun movie. And then he does a rap. I ended up, when I woke up to Leprechaun in the Hood, I stayed up for the rap. Again, this is a great marathon series.
I think there's 2 Leprechaun in the Hood.
There's 2 Leprechaun in the Hood. Back to the Hood.
And then he also went to space.
He went to. This is how I know that the Leprechaun is better than Saw, because John Kramer has not gone to space yet.
That's true. Jason's gone to space.
Jason's gone to space.
All right. I'm sure you'll get your Saw in space someday.
I hope so.
Okay. Let's keep going. Jennifer Aniston, in her first movie, plays the protagonist, Tori Redding.
I know that this is a movie that she regrets being in.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere, but even when I'm maybe it's just because I know that she doesn't like having been in this. Mm-hmm. But when I was sitting there watching this, I was like, this girl does not give a single fuck about anything happening in this movie.
No, like, she inhabited the role. I mean, probably because she had been she was a teenage girl.
Yeah.
So I don't think it probably isn't hard to get in that headspace. Aside from Warwick Davis, I think she is definitely the best performance in the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, look at what she's being graded against.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to the other actors.
Yeah.
I know you probably did your best given the characters you were written.
What about 3 guys who paint?
I like them on paper. I like 3 dudes, and like one of them is a kid, like just kind of trying to have a business, and that's how you get sucked into a horror movie.
So the older brother and his younger brother, and then their friend who is an adult but has whatever it is.
That has not aged well.
Yeah, it really hasn't.
And you know me, I'm not your most politically correct friend, and even I was sitting there watching this going, I don't know if this is all right.
It's on the line. It's somewhere around the line. Funnily enough, So when I sat down to watch this, and as I'm watching, like, I literally remember zero of this movie, to the point where it's like, maybe I didn't actually watch it. Maybe I rented it and never watched it. Until we got to Ozzy.
Yep.
And I was like, I have seen this movie. And what the memory it triggered was me watching this as a kid and seeing him and going, that's the bully from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh my god, it is.
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
It's the guy who stole Pee-wee's bike. So, yes, I did watch this movie.
Eats a coin.
Yeah. I was like, oh, the leprechaun, he's going to be the one that dies. Leprechaun's going to rip it out of his stomach.
I think that there's just like a couple lines in here that went just a little too far for me. And granted, part of it's the time and part of it's maybe I've gotten a little bit more sensitive over time. Mm-hmm. But like when the kid goes, we can get a surgery to fix your brain.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's almost like something a kid would say, but an adult person had to write that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess like, if you had, one, I wouldn't write that scene, but if you had to, maybe, like, find a kid and explain the situation, be like, how would you say this? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I in my experience, most kids are just nice to people with some mental disabilities, you know, but I don't know. It bordered the line for me a lot.
Yeah, it was hovering above the line for me as well.
I like the idea of just three dudes in a small business, and that's how you get, like, because a lot of times you have this issue of like, how do you get people into the horror? Mm-hmm. And okay, well, they're painting houses. Yeah, they're renovating the houses, and that's how you normally that would be for a kill count. Wasn't here, and that's another one of my issues. Is
it is very Scooby-Doo-esque though, where it's a group of kids,
yeah,
and they're all safe,
and they're all okay.
It's just bad things might happen to people around them, but they're all the last girl.
I really want them to do another Leprechaun movie where they take the leprechaun's face off and it just rips off and there's a skull or something underneath. As like a reference to all this.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Hire me, Hollywood. I'll write you a new Leprechaun movie.
I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all. I'm every nightmare you ever had. I am your worst dream come true. I'm everything you ever were afraid of.
Scary shit. Is this movie scary?
I don't even know if this would have scared me as a kid.
I don't think it did.
Yeah.
I don't remember being scared by it.
Now, I remember the first one I saw because it was the one where he kept trying to screw a hot chick. Which, again, you know, a lot of, like, my issues as an adult are starting to line up.
Why did they never do, like, a Bride of Chucky-esque leprechaun?
It's Leprechaun 2.
Oh, okay.
He kidnaps a woman, and he's like, I'm just going to put a leprechaun baby in you.
Yeah, that could be a little freaky.
Yeah, that's the plot.
Okay. That's fun.
Yeah.
Alright, so special effects, makeup. I think, obviously, like, the makeup and the leprechaun costume, that's the high point of the movie for me.
Some of the special effects are better than others. And part of that's budget, part of that's just what you could do back then. Mm-hmm. Like, there are some movies that were big budget movies, but, like...
Hiya! Happy Easter!
Original Force Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it looks okay.
I like it.
But if you compare it to the Force Lightning you can do today...
I mean, that's just not a
fair yeah,
comparison.
But that's what I'm saying.
I mean, and look at lightsabers in A New Hope versus... Yeah.
So some of it is what you could do back then versus what you can do now. And some of it is budget. They
also just... Like, they had 3 weeks to make this movie. Mm-hmm. And Warwick Davis says in the book that they went through... crew like crazy, like they had like a new cameraman like every other night because the pace they were going was insane. And he compared it to working on Harry Potter. Like on Harry Potter they can spend an entire day on one shot because that one shot has to be right, but when they're doing Leprechaun, I was like, okay, we've got 21 nights of filming, and it's like, that's good enough, keep going, that's good enough, keep going.
I really want to be involved in something like this. It's part of my dream. Yeah. I love when he gets his skates and he goes through the fence and it's just a little leprechaun shaped hole.
That is fun. I would also love to be in a movie like this.
Maybe one day. Horror of Babylon presents... Well, what's a fictional creature that hasn't been used yet? I guess we could just wait for the public domain. Superman enters the public domain this year.
Yeah, but doesn't it have to be like OG?
Yeah, only the first issue. You can only use things that happened in the first issue.
Okay.
So basically we'd be making Brightburn.
And that's already been done.
Yeah.
We should do that at some point. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you Stephen King? No, I'm Dean Koontz. Oh.
Kings and Koontz. Daniel, what is your king for Leprechaun?
Warwick Davis.
Yeah, I'm going to say Warwick Davis / the makeup, his costume.
Yeah, just everything about the Leprechaun itself.
Yes.
My Koontz is everything that isn't the Leprechaun.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, the tone is kind of jarring because at one point, like, the Leprechaun is ripping somebody's eyeball out, and then at another point they're doing, like, he's going back and forth on the skateboard across the doorway, and it's like, is he Bugs Bunny? Like,
yeah, like, there's a lot of Looney Tunes-esque shit in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which I don't dislike in and of itself. It's just
when you mix it together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Ranking, I did rank it. It's not very high. If you love this movie, like, I understand, like, I think I would have liked this movie a lot more if Daniel and I watched it together with some beers, but I watched it by myself sober, and it was not a ton of fun. I have it at number 79, right below The Last Voyage of the Demeter. At least that had pretty production.
Yeah, mine's also going to be kind of low. I think I'm going to put it also right below The Last Voyage of the Demeter.
So that's your new number 85. Homework. How would the Leprechaun kill the cast of Friends?
Okay. Joey, he creates an illusion of a beautiful woman.
Mm-hmm.
And what it really is him fucking a blender, which I stole from Leprechaun 2, only it was a lawnmower.
I know you said lawnmower, but my head registered llama.
Rachel, he's going to turn into a bowl of Lucky Charms and eat her. And be like, now you can't escape me. Ross, I guess he'll push him.
If you don't have an answer for everyone, that's fine.
Chandler and him are going to get into a rap battle. And Chandler's going to die of disappointment.
Oh.
Monica, he's going to feed poison food because she was a cook.
Mm.
Phoebe, he doesn't do anything to Phoebe because Phoebe's chill.
She is chill. Like, she's the one that I when I have to watch it with Becca, she's the one I tolerate.
Yeah. And so there you go.
Well, okay, for me, he's already killed Chandler, so one down. Sorry. The rest of them, so mine's a little meta. So right now, the remaining cast of Friends are actually just living off of their residuals from Friends.
I mean, I guess I would too.
Yeah. So the Leprechaun decides to take them down, and he goes for Joey, or the guy who plays Joey, because he's the weak link. And he gets him to say something racist on Twitter, which
that's so good.
Which gets him canceled, and it's so bad that they stop making Friends merchandise and they cancel all the residuals and they stop airing it on TV.
They Bill Cosby it,
which takes away the income from the rest of them. So they all commit suicide except for Lisa Kudrow because she still works and she's chill.
I honestly think that that's kind of a good idea if you got like the cast of Friends and made a Leprechaun movie but made it super meta where he's like in the real world now.
Yeah.
Fucking with Rachel.
Won't acknowledge my movie, will you?
Yeah, I think that'd actually be a great movie.
I'd watch it.
Yeah.
For further reading, I put Gremlins because I think Gremlins is just this movie but better.
Yeah, Critters is about the same as this movie.
And then I do recommend Size Matters Not by Warwick Davis. It's a good book. It might still be free on Audible, especially if you like Star Wars or Harry Potter. There's a lot of good stuff in there. It's a really fun read.
Cool.
And then upcoming on the Horror of Babylon, our next two Sunday episodes. This Sunday we are wrapping up the Legend of Sleepy Hollow coverage with Sleepy Hollow, Tim Burton's movie from 1999.
Hooray!
Our next book episode is March 24th, where we dive into the world of nonfiction with No Beast So Fierce by Dan Hucklebridge, which is the true story of the Champawat tiger, the deadliest man-eater in history.
I kept reading it as the Chipotle tiger.
If only that tiger had some Chipotle, a lot of people would still be alive. And then our next 2 bonus episodes, we're doing something a little, you might say it's self-serving, but we just needed something a little more chill and easier.
A little fun.
Yeah, a little fun. On Thursday, March 21st, I'm going to interview Daniel.
Hooray!
And then on Thursday, March 28th, Daniel's going to interview me.
We're going to find out so much about his sex life.
Yeah. Okay, then. Thank you to our patrons, including Abigail the First, Breaker of Chains, Mother of Dragons, and
Logan,
the Full Metal Patron, and Ben the Fourth, Patron of Hope, and Mia the Fifth,
the Rainmaker.
She makes it rain, yo! And I think I forgot to mention, but thank you to Horsemen Comics and Gaming, who is the sponsor of this week's episode through their Patreon subscription. They get to choose 2 movies a month that we review. This is one of their 2 movies for this month. You can find them at Morgantown Mall, Morgantown, West Virginia, at the Mall at Robinson, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You can shop online at fourhorsemen.tcgplayerpro.com. And if you make it into the store, say hello to that grubby Irish bastard, Ronald III, Grumpus of Christmas. Daniel, thank you for watching Leprechaun and recording with me tonight.
It's been an amazing time.
It's been really just the luck of the Irish here. Thank you to our patrons. Stay tuned for our socials and stay scary.
Stay scary, everybody.
And now for the obligatory socials. Please like, share, and subscribe. You can find the podcast on Twitter at HorrorPod69. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Slasher, and Goodreads. Become part of the Disturbed community by asking for the Facebook group and Discord links. Send dick pics to the Horror of Babylon podcast at gmail.com. Support the show at patreon.com/the Horror of Babylon. In closing, you can let your friends know that The Horror of Babylon is available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, and all other major podcast apps. Stay scary.